Flexible Mind. We appreciate you listening. We were just talking about the de-evolution of people through this, I guess...
Pursuit of effectiveness.
Yeah. So you lose yourself in the effort of having the greater good.
So in this, I was thinking about it because I never really thought about it like that, but I think the best way to put it is that is why we are so special. I mean, you look at all the mythologies and all the explanation of humans, it's always we were just like that, and then someone came along and gave us fire, intelligence, Prometheus, seeing the future of what we had, giving us that ability to learn. It's because our style is so inherently different than anything else in the world.
Yeah.
Everything is all about, that's what free will is. Free will is the ability to exist without the goal of being effective. That is free will.
That's a very good way to put it, honestly, because it rings true. It does.
Because, ants are about doing what they're supposed to do.
But they don't have any free will.
Yeah.
They're highly effective, though.
And you look at something like cats. Cats are, obviously, they're not ants. They're not drones that just
Cats
exist.
are dicks.
No, cats are my cat's the shit. But
cats.
Cats will lay in the sun just because, I like the warmth. I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
That's their free will is to just do what they feel is pleasing. Now they're not as driven by their senses as we are. I think it's us, dolphins, and chimpanzees, the only three that get any pleasure out of having sex.
Yeah, I've heard something similar.
But that's a perfect example.
But is it bonobos or? It's a type of like ape that is the specific one that they have sex for pleasure and conflict resolution.
Yes, and they do prostitution. There was an example where they actually found monkeys exchanging goods for sex. Okay, so we're gonna get
whole topic. Here we go.
But there was actually a study showing that certain primates are actually beginning to start to get into the stone era. We find them using rudimentary tools, that they're actually beginning to learn tool use and things like that.
Have they gotten to the point where they're making stone knives?
It's more like they're taking rocks and beating it into a shape and using it as clubs and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So
that was the start of humans.
Exactly. So they're getting to that point. So this is the example of where, because they were so closely associated to our level of free will, enjoying certain things that are normally a instinct, being able to derive pleasure from things like sex.
Yeah.
They have already now evolved because they have the mechanical ability to do this, have evolved now to the point where they're going to start now obviously
it's going to be a long time,
thousands of years behind us, but long term they are now on a similar path to us, which is insane to think about.
So it's almost like they reached a certain level of enlightenment where they've gone past this simple animalistic, this is what I need to do to be effective and survive, and now they're getting to the point where they're like, I kind of want to do A or B, which is a huge change.
They've hit their, I'll just make this term now, you heard it here first,
on a flexible mind.
Their Prometheus wall, where now they've hit that point where now they've broken through, they've learned there is more to what their existence was than it was previously.
To go back to that analogy earlier with the shadows in the cave, they've essentially come out of the cave now and seen that, hey, there's more than just shadows.
Not only have they come out of the cave, they now processed what was outside the cave.
They didn't just run back.
And it's almost like they went back in and it's almost like as if they come back in, they're still shackled, and all of a sudden they're like, damn, my wrist hurts. And it's like, well, there you go. That's it. You're questioning what more can there be done.
Yeah.
You're not happy and complacent with the situation you're in. Now that's as a collective whole, as a species, not any one individual. And it's likely because of almost like how people always say aliens came here and gave us this technology.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
I don't believe that if that were true, I don't think it was aliens came here like, hey, here's a ray gun, here's some crafting materials. It was exactly what's happening to monkeys. They existed here once upon a time on a level that was beyond our comprehension, but just their existence eventually rubbed off on us.
Yeah.
Or
you just naturally come to that point, I guess, like humans did. So,
now I like this Prometheus wall. I like that term. I'm using that one. They hit a Prometheus wall, and a good example of someone where a mechanical failure, because monkeys are very similar to us. They have the ability to do physical things that help them advance, make tools. Dolphins are the perfect example of the counterpoint. Dolphins are extremely intelligent. They've been known to literally have their own judicial system, in the sense that if another dolphin attacks or kills one, they will get together as a group and ban that dolphin.
What?
Yes, dolphins are extremely intelligent.
But then doesn't that kind of include a level of like civility between them? Like you'd have to understand like, hey, this is something we do and this is something we don't do. And if you kill somebody, we don't accept that as a group.
And that's what I'm saying. And
there's a group identity then.
Well, exactly. They're able to latch on to certain concepts, but they also, like, dolphins commit rape. Dolphins,
strange.
Well, they enjoy sex. They are very, very, very intelligent creatures, more than people give them credit for. Mm-hmm. But the only thing is keeping them back is their mechanical failure. They don't have the ability to craft tools to ascend to higher levels, because on a mechanical issue they still need to grow. Now start worrying when you see dolphins being born with fingers. Then I'm like, oh, okay, fuck.
Now they're gonna build
Here
weapons.
come the overlords.
Yeah.
They've been ready to go. And they're just like, oh, finally.
Yeah. Now we can hold spears. We're coming for you.
It's time to say, yeah. Then all of a sudden Poseidon comes out of the ocean.
Yeah.
It's time. My army is finished. And so, but that's an example of where I feel like it's the ability to do free will and derive pleasure from basic life is why we're such a special case, and that we have grown out of the need for effectiveness, because we're like, well, effectiveness again is inherently about sacrifice. I mean, there's obviously some pleasure you get from effectiveness. Like for me, being a perfectionist kind of person, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm making an Excel sheet for work, if I'm playing a game and I'm doing a time trial, like I want to be the best I can be.
Yeah.
Because you derive a pleasure from the fact that it's a pleasure of superiority. Mm-hmm. You know, if very few people ever get an enjoyment out of something that'll never be seen, talked about, or compared against.
Yeah, and there was a study about that actually.
And no one's gonna go try and get the number one leaderboard spot on something if no one can see it.
That's true.
And if you look at, and you can even see this on a small level, professional gaming is a good example where very rarely did you ever see people maximizing effectiveness in video games. Like now there's an example of someone figured out how they can do a run of Zelda Ocarina of Time in 6 minutes.
Damn.
Because they glitches where they like cut through the map and it spawns them in different points, and like they figured out how to break the game just for the sake of doing that. But that's only a recent discovery in the last 10 years because now the internet exists.
Yeah, so now there's an incentive to do it.
Each other. Before, all you ever had was the big national conventions where they would people would come to a mall and compete for prizes. Mm-hmm. But it was still in front of an audience. No one sat in their room and just tried to figure out how good can they do at Mario Brothers if they had no one to talk to, no one to show it to, no one to post it to, no one to compete against.
So then does that mean that to some degree the ability to compare and compete against our peers and people around us incentivizes us to become more effective, which I guess to some degree plays into what you want, the free will, because you're wanting to get to that top spot. But now you're like...
And this thing is deriving pleasure out of a base function.
So then what if you have that society, going back to our original concept, where people were naturally deriving a sense of pleasure and success out of being effective part of like an effective cog in the whole machine.
And you could get to that point.
Dehumanize them to that point.
To quote The Incredibles, if everyone's super, no one is.
That's true.
If everybody is like, oh, this is so great, at some point you're going to have a point where then again that resets.
Or maybe it just gets to the point where everyone's like, they've been brainwashed and this is just what they think now. They're part of this whole system, so they never... Since everyone is a part of this system and they're like dehumanized, then they would, just like you said, like if everyone's a superhero, then no one's a superhero. If everyone's brainwashed and part of the machine, then no one is.
Well, it's just in the thing,
and then no one thinks that.
In the thing, realistically, you would have to, because free will is inherently programmed in us, and more importantly, not consistently the same for everybody. You're going to eventually have one person who's born schizophrenic, who's born with, multiple personality disorder, or even just born with a different kind of hardwiring in their head where their pleasure derives from not that. So then as soon as they step out of a line, it's reawakening. It's almost like if you had someone in the dark room for a long time, pull them out of the cave with the shadow puppets.
It only takes one person to break the system.
Exactly. And when we're so massive, we're such a huge entity in existence,
there's
especially
bound
in our
to be
footprint,
somebody.
there will eventually be somebody.
Yeah.
And so it's a system that'll never come to fruition with humans. We'll by far either the Earth or we'll be gone before that point.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like when people to bring it back to the job system, people get freaked out over a system growing like, oh, I don't want to lose all my jobs. I'm like, okay, there's still going to be a need for a job, but people also tend to underestimate the point of having robots, because they're essentially what would be a perfect human. They don't derive pleasure, so they do this job, they fall in line, anyone steps out, it is resolved and no one yearns to step out with it, so everyone stays a smooth operating machine.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we as humans have figured out how to delegate that to a system where it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, we'll get to a point where we start debating what is alive, what has wants, needs, desires. But as it stands now, all we're doing is getting rid of the jobs nobody wants. No one.
Okay, now we're going to the job. Okay.
No one wants to be a semi-truck driver. Now, people might prefer that out of all the other jobs available that they're qualified to do.
Yeah, $30 an hour or some shit.
I like driving. Like when I was a catering driver for Four Rivers, I loved just kind of going on the road 2 hours. Me, my phone, an aux cord,
and
just
jamming,
chilling, podcasts, music, whatever it would be. I did sit there and practice voices, anything. I enjoyed I relished the solitude that comes from that. So that's nice, but it's almost like you can either do whatever you want or that. I'm gonna be like, I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that as these jobs that no one wants, no one wanted to work in a factory. They might be good at it, so they took pride in it and they got paid well, but they didn't. Again,
no one grows up wanting to be a factory worker.
No one comes in on their day off and for no reason says, I'm gonna go in that factory with all the soot and die of lung cancer.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Sorry guys, we're back.
So the thing is, people never prefer that job, and so to me, when we get rid of jobs like, say, we have a point where we get automated cars, and all taxis and Uber styles are all machine automated.
Semis.
Now that's a long way away. Despite how far we've got, there's still still a wall behind that. So people are like, oh, I don't want to lose my jobs. I was like, no one wants to work at fast food. Let the kiosks do it. Because as those jobs get phased out, new ones get created. And people tend to underestimate that. Like I was just watching a video talking about like, oh, the private sector's always been the one to pick it up, like restaurants, stuff like that, but that's no longer happening. I'm like, yeah, but we also didn't have YouTubers, podcasts,
exactly.
There wasn't many full-time massage therapists.
Yeah.
Specifically sports doctors or sports players 200 years ago.
That's true.
There was no football players making millions of dollars 200 years ago because everyone had to go do another job.
Mm-hmm.
We were breaking out of, because we're still in the middle ground where there are still people who are doing that effective work where it's like just grunt work, and then people living lifestyles of just having complete freedom to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Our goal is to have it where everyone is able to live that life, where the machines are producing us our energy. They're the ones producing us our TVs, our cars.
Maximize your free time. So
then you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So then all the little things that require human interaction are what we can do for a living, like massage therapists, talking about politics.
But to your point with the technology taking over jobs, during the last election, Hillary Clinton made a statement, and it was a huge gap. The coal mining comment where she's like, I'm going to put coal mining out of business, or whatever her statement was. And she got so much backlash for it. And it's because these people have like this zero-sum game mentality where there's like, if the computer takes my job, if there's no more fast food workers because all the kiosks are doing it, then we're going to be out those jobs. But they don't realize it's not a zero-sum game, and other jobs will open up. Mm-hmm. And, back to the Hillary Clinton thing, she was like, I'm going to put the coal workers out of business or whatever. But, in the short term, that unemployment for those people really fucking suck. But for the greater society, there's going to be solar panel jobs, and there's going to be nuclear energy jobs, and all these other jobs are going to start popping up if we reduce our dependence on certain resources like coal. But on the same hand, what do you do with those people who spent 30 years in the coal mine? They've built up a standard of living, they have families and a lifestyle, and then you just take their job away. For those people, it really fucking sucks. And you gotta try to balance that. But if you never make that step, if you never cross that line and say, we're shutting it down, we're reducing the amount of coal workers, and you have to just retrain, then another generation will go into the coal mines, and another generation. You'll never get out of that cycle.
Well, this is why I am annoyed with Trump reactivating it and pushing this whole clean coal bullshit.
Yeah.
It's because it's him not wanting to let go of that fallacy because he grew up in the area, he grew up in the time when that was a job.
Yeah.
Now, he never did it himself because he's, a fat,
small loans, millions of dollars.
Yeah, he's a rich, overweight, draft dodging guy who's conned his way into presidency. But
that's another episode.
And to these people, it's just and this sounds so harsh, but wrong place, wrong time, wrong decision to choose to kind of be one-dimensional. I understand people who are like 45, 50 years old still working in the coal mines who grew up in an era where that was a stable job.
Yeah.
But to me, if you're under the age of 40 and you're in a coal mine, that was your own fault.
And you
still
have time to retrain.
And that sounds extremely privileged and arrogant, but I didn't grow up wealthy. Believe me, I'm scraping by doing what I can.
Yeah.
And I've worked a lot of different jobs. It's just a matter of anyone who's 38 is a millennial. 38 to 22 is a millennial age.
Okay.
So anyone in that age gap grew up in an era we've known about green energy is going to be a thing. So if you knew you were standing directly in the path of the progress and you chose to plant your feet, hold still, refuse to have any backup plans, and now all of a sudden plan A crumbles and you have nothing, that is on you.
Yeah.
Now obviously there are some people who got blindsided with it. There are some people who were trained, and this is a part of a greater issue where it's not necessarily their fault, but unfortunately it's a little bit of a divergence that we'll bring out to the topic.
That's cool.
There is a difference between something being your fault and your responsibility, and people tend to not make that association. If I'm at work and my subordinate, I'm a training team lead, and one of my people under there has a terrible day, they fuck up. Mm-hmm. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
But it's my responsibility. I got to make sure they get back in line, they fix it. So same thing is, it might not be your fault that you have only ever known the coal mines, that you were trained in your head. Coal's around here for a long time. Oh, we've been in business for hundreds of years. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, Al Gore's full of shit, and you bought it, and you're in this system. That's not your fault. But unfortunately, because life is not fair, it is your responsibility.
Yeah.
So to me,
no, that's a very good point.
And so a good example I'll use for my personal, so people understand. I understand where I'm practicing, where I preach. I worked at Zona Fresca. That was a restaurant that I knew was failing. From when I started there, I asked, and they were not making money. A year and a half later, they were still not making money. And I watched them lose the money. I knew the numbers. Mm-hmm. And so, sure enough, in my head, I said, I need to find a better job. I have bad knees, I have bad feet, I have a bad back, and I can't do this because this company will fall short and I'll be without a job.
Yeah.
So I go ahead, I set up an interview to go work with my buddy over at the Sears call center. And as I'm on my way there, I get a call from the owner. Hey, Gordy, I really hate this. We're shutting the restaurant down. And in my head, I'm like, there you go. That's my fucking plan.
Yeah.
I did something for myself there. I was damn good at my job. I was helping them make money. I was trying to turn it around. But
you literally did nothing wrong.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, it was the owner's fault and only his because he made faulty decisions. Everybody else was trying their absolute hardest. We were monitoring our waste. We were cutting back on how much we were being wasteful with food. I made sure the food was fresh. I made sure we sent back anything that didn't even look like it wouldn't hold for 2 days. Mm-hmm. If we got a bad batch to it, immediately I was like, no. We either get a refund or we want more.
Yeah.
More. Like we stayed on top of this and we went under. So nobody was at fault but the owner.
And that goes to your point you were making.
But it was my responsibility.
Exactly.
It wasn't his. It's not his responsibility to find me a new job.
Yeah.
It's not. So I made sure. I'm like, okay, because I know that shit's gonna happen that I can't control. I'm gonna go make sure this gets taken care of. Now I got lucky enough to know to have that happen the day I got that job.
Yeah, and you have the foresight.
Exactly.
Some people
and
wouldn't.
I was aware of it. But that's the thing. It's kind of up to you on that. So if you're in the coal mine industry. And say back in 2000, Al Gore starts preaching all of this about, the ozone layer and we have to do this. Your head should have immediately gone to, oh shit, like I better start looking at something else. Let me start learning, maybe while I'm in the coal mines, maybe start looking at HVAC technician jobs or maybe start doing this.
Which is huge right now.
Oh yeah, believe me, I work in a home room and we know it's a lot of money.
It's money.
And well, so, and obviously you look at states like West Virginia where all they have are coal mines. At the same time, I'm like, but there's you have to understand there's still something you could have been doing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm not saying that you would have been able to do a transition or you were in a better standing. Excuse me, but your bottom line would have been better than no job.
Yeah. So
so
I think that's what a lot of people end up getting into is like, say you're working in that coal mine and you're used to making $40 or $30 an hour, and you bust your ass, but you built a standard of living based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're faced with, I could lose my job or the market could change and I could lose my employment. So I need to switch career paths, but then that often leads to less income. And if you build a standard of living around $30 an hour, you're not going to make it on $20 an hour. So you got to find a way to like balance that. And a lot of people, unfortunately, just turn a blind eye to it. They're like, I'm good with my status quo right now. Mm-hmm. They're short-sighted. They don't see 10, 20 years down the road. Yeah. And that actually is a good point, because I often say this is comfort breeds conformity. And as soon as you get comfortable in that $30 an hour job, you're comfortable working in a coal mine, and then you just conform to your situation, and then the situation changes, you're going to die or adapt, and those are your options.
Exactly. And so you have to it's your responsibility. Again, it's not your fault. It's your responsibility to make sure that you know how to handle those situations as best you can. A good example, I work for Sears. Everybody knows that Sears has been closing down retail stores left and right. They started at, I think it was like something like 4,000 locations. We're down to 1,000 retail stores. I work for a separate division. They're all about home improvements, and home improvement still makes money. They're looking to invest. But in the back of my head, I know that there is somewhere resemblance of a chance that Sears closes. Either it gets set, this division operates on its own, which is fine, but then there might be issues in terms of repercussions of branding and things like that.
Yeah.
We could get bought by another company. There's a lot of things that could happen when you're working for a company where on any part, whether it's a separate financial umbrella or not, is failing. There is that in the back of my head of like, okay, what might happen? So I put myself in a position where I'm in a learning development group, so I'm training, so now I can go be a corporate trainer somewhere else. I can move up, try and make more money to build a cushion. But I'm aware of that. Everything is great where I'm at right now. I'm making enough money to pay my bills. I'm in a department where I love training and teaching people, so I don't feel like I do work anymore. Mm-hmm. This is great. And in my head, I'm still like, I need to make some moves. I need to get high up in the corporate umbrella, so if something happens bad, I'll be one of the people that they're protecting. Yeah. I also be making more money so I can have a bigger cushion in case something happens. And also build my resume.
So I guess to end this segment on a pretty solid point is it's solely up to you to make sure your doors stay open and your options stay open, and that you don't just bog yourself down into a specific career path or a specific source of income, and that you try to keep yourself flexible, especially in today's market and going into the future, because who knows when your job gets taken over by a computer or the company goes out of business. And with that, we'll be right back.